Doo-doo-doo, and I am back. Ignore the ignore the photo there. Uh, but yeah, I'm back. It's been about 2 weeks. I said my second or third video, I guess now. Uh, my next video I said was gonna be more PC orientated since the last one was more console kind of video game based. Kind of recapping the kind of 2 weeks of just news and releases that were coming out from there. This one is a bit more different just because just a lot of GPU news and CPU news and just computer news came out in like the last 10 days. And it was a lot to kind of seep through and get better ideas about and just get my takes ready for how awful it'll probably be. Although I did turn on a couple, I'm still more pessimistic. I know we're about a week out from a release with not only the GPU that's on this board right now, but just in general what's going to be happening. So bear with me. I know that we're about a week away, but it's always fun to take the guesswork and then wait till next week, see what happens. Uh, I was also going to talk about like my future PC upgrades. That got shot out of the cannon real quick. Let's just say medical bills are a bitch. And so got delayed, but more than likely I'll be ready until the beginning of next year, which should be fine as well. I'm planning on getting Ryzen 7000 series anyway, so by then hopefully cheaper boards, cheaper materials, stuff like that. It's pretty expensive, as anyone has already said in all the tech YouTubers, but definitely not cheap jumping to new, I guess the new versions. But you know what? I'm good to go. I got my slides and all the stuff I want to talk about. Again, going a little bit more, how would you say, just a lot more in person, a little more stuff on screen. So, with that being said, and the first thing I want to talk about, let me adjust this for a moment, is Intel and their ARC GPUs. Because let me tell you, I was one of those people who was super down on those GPUs. And, say what you say, I had these kind of written off as in, oh, that's a cool enthusiast GPUs, like something that if by any chance if you wanted to grab it just to kind of test the waters and stuff like that, like it'd be a fun side project. Like if you were really serious, like if you actually needed a GPU, like a backup GPU, like that's not gonna be it. Like my backup GPU right now is a 2070 Super, which is also pretty good, but it's like that I got like earlier this year, and that's kind of like my one I have in the back corner if I'm like, oh, I need an Nvidia graphics card. Right now I'm running a 6800 XT, which is like my 1440p like juggernaut, which is awesome. But yeah, again, the Intel Arc, from the stories, from all that's happening, from all the delays, all the continued delays, it's just been it's been much more than a mess. It's been a whole disaster. And so when we're looking at it now, we're kind of seeing it in a hopefully a better light, I was going to say, going off of some of the benchmarks that were kind of leaked out early ish. Now, of course, not all the drivers are updated, but also, I mean, at this point, the drivers have to be out the window somewhere because I mean, at this point, it's I was to say drip or drown. At this point, it's sink or swim. This is the moment where Intel is either gonna work, not gonna work. I know Moore's law is dead. Someone who is probably the only person who is standing on the hill that is already dead, which I'm also not going to disagree with, because I also feel like they've done a lot to kind of fuel that type of fire of like, this is just going to be a thing that's going to come out once, maybe next year, but that's about it. Like, they're through. And a lot of people are like, no, they're going to back it up, they're going to back it up, they're going to back it up. My only rebuttal to the idea that they're actually going to back this up is probably the fact that he keeps saying it, but I actually don't trust him at all. Especially looking at the stock price. If you look at the stock market and just the value of most industries right now, they're taking a absolute tanking and beating. And so, again, drip or drown. If this works, maybe they continue it. If it doesn't, well, they gave it a good shot. Uh, they are going against, I guess, a pretty competitive area. You would say, again, something you have to think about is these are 2 year old graphics cards that were supposed to come out like last year, and then just got kind of delayed up until now, and so performance is kind of like 2 years ago type of deal. So we'll see. Um, Kind of looking through all of this. Now, what I'm showing you guys right now uh, is from digital testings. This is the most recent as of today testing of the A77 and then 3060 Ti. So the top of the line for ARC, and then the pseudo competitor, if we want to say that. They said it's going to become compete better with the 3060. I think the reason for that is because they know that they can't compete driver wise with older titles for this. But as we let me just kind of show you guys. It's staying within metrics of a 3080, a 3060 Ti, which is pretty good, pretty good. Uh, as you could see, it is using Direct X12. So again, something to kind of think about is that these are all new titles, which is the main kind of caveat when it comes to this stuff. Is that it's great. The kind of the promo of it is great with new titles, but when it comes to older titles, we're not sure yet if it's gonna run all that well. But as you can tell, look at that. It's kind of matching through and through with the 3060 Ti with Watch Dogs Legion. Again, new title, DirectX 12 Minecraft. It looks like it's actually doing a little bit better, but as we could see, it's competitive, which I guess that's the good thing with this. But again, we're gonna have to see next week if this actually will rise up to the occasion, or will be that thing that kind of was there and then drops off the face of the earth. Sucks. Uh, Kind of want to switch topics now to CPUs, because as I said before, uh, super want to get 7000 series. That's one of my biggest things. I wanted to grab a 7700 X, although I will say I might be tempted to wait until the 3D Vcache versions come out. The only reason I say that is because, and this thanks to the 13th gen interview from Intel. No shade to Intel. They make great CPUs, but when they were talking about that, this is the one that everyone points out to, is that while there's this big improvement, these dark blue lines, these are the newer ones, the one line that they hid away, they're trying desperately, but everyone's pointed that out already, that's as competitive as all the other Intels, is the Ryzen 7 5800 3D, which was my backup plan as a CPU I wanted to get for my PC, because I could easily switch that up, get a better board, and I'll be good to go. But this thing coming out this year, still good with Gen 4, is just a juggernaut in gaming. It is like the king right now if you want best price to performance with the top tippy top of gaming is this. And so definitely going to be on my mind, definitely going to be on my radar. As of right now, it is still at 420 bucks. I see in some places at 400. I know Best Buy, I saw it drop to 400 at some price, but it's definitely something that's super on my radar. Uh, Definitely, if it drops down to maybe 250, 275, with trying to get people to convince to like, this is the higher tier of Gen 4, and then maybe if you want to jump to Gen 3, there's that $300 price tag. But we'll see. But definitely something to look at if you're a mid to high PC builder and you're thinking of getting something there, but not willing to jump completely to the new Gen 5. But we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, that's something I definitely want to point out. Is just kind of how incredible this chip is still. Which again, these are just the regular CPUs for the next gen, and so it's something where it's like definitely want to see what 3D Vcache does. And again, this could be all overkill. Again, I have a 6800 XT. I don't plan on switching. Uh, Probably for another couple years. Like this is my GPU to ride with me up until maybe uh, there's a better discount on Nvidia, because right now the prices were ludicrous. When that whole news came out about the 3080 16 gigabyte, the 12 gigabyte, which is really just a 4070. Uh, if I said 3080 before, I meant 4080. But yeah, the 4090. I mean, the 4090 is the least ludicrous of it, but it's also $1,600. So that's something to think about. That's again, if you're on the top end, if you're one of those uh, PC builders who want like the elite of elite, you're gonna get that. So it doesn't matter, but it's just kind of crazy in terms of scale. Which upon talking about that, uh, just kind of want to go over Nvidia because again, their claims are insane. As usual, they're saying that this could provide 2 to 4 times better with ray tracing. Uh, Again, not sure where. And this is something that I talked about specifically uh, in my first video, is the fear of power consumption with GPUs. And again, this is fully realized in this mode, but it's gotten even worse now because as newer reports have came out, you're gonna need a new power supply. Not even like just a higher tier power supply, but you're gonna need just another level of next gen power supplies, which is something weird to say, but it's something that's now existing because there needs to be now power stoppages and ensuring that the GPU can pull the full amount of wattage it needs, and it's just insane. And I'm hoping that there's a possibility that you could skip this generation. This feels like a very power hungry generation where it's like they haven't figured out to how to condense all the performance that they're gaining uh, within parameters of power wattage that needs to be set. I think it's just we kind of hit our limit. We need to now shove as much power as we can for better performance, and it's just kind of crazy. And so hopefully this works itself out. But this is all kind of just kind of up in the air type of form right now, and so we're just hoping for the best. But we'll see. We'll see. Uh, Kind of more thoughts that I have about this, because this all the technology that they're saying is pretty cool for third gen Ryzen, the DLSS3. Just again, in paper, this in theory, if I had to summarize Nvidia for this 4000 series, it is them building the blocks up to perfect 4K ray tracing. I think that is the best way to kind of summarize this generation is building the building blocks. They don't have it set, they don't have it perfected. Do not expect fully ray trace extreme 4K 60 frames or plus. Don't expect that at all. There's already a lot of conversations about those type of expectations. It has the building blocks though. Like I think that overall they have the parts that they think they need to really get this down, and hopefully by maybe the 5000 series they've perfected it enough for possibly and I know we're talking future in 2-3 years, but the 50,000 series, the 5080, 5070, that they can not only provide all of this but also in a reasonable price, because I think right now we're just eating the inflation costs and the chip costs and the Nvidia tax, the super tax now that they've kind of bundled together for their price. And so that's kind of the hope right there, is that this generation is just kind of the building blocks, and the people who buy these cards are just kind of the test subjects for it. And of course, when this all gets perfected, this is going to be huge for the PC community. It's going to be huge for a majority of PC games. And it's going to be another level that's going to be available for us. Uh, Consoles will kind of find out they're kind of stuck on a parameter at that point. Not to throw shade, but again, consoles release every 7 years, and so the base one is reliant on 7 years of hardware. And so they're stuck with a second gen CPU from AMD and a modified GPU, which some have said is as good as a 6800 XT. I find that hard to believe because the performance of though if it was realistic, it would have been you would see more detail in a lot of their games, and I believe instead of that it is some type of hybrid of a 6700 XT, maybe 6700. It's another tier down is my belief. Possibly two. It's from what I've seen in testing with a lot of the consoles games and just the kind of power that they're drawing from it, it feels like more of a laptop version of some of the higher tier, middle to higher tier AMD GPUs. It's just a Frankenstein GPU at the end of the day. And so, especially because it is AMD and they're not dealing with uh, they're not involved with, I guess right now, the higher tier of, ray tracing. Again, as a person like myself, ray tracing is not high tier on the list, but, as they said, that's kind of their selling point for these consoles, which I don't understand a lot. Again, there's just a lot of limitations with these consoles, and it doesn't look like they're going to be making a pro version of them soon. So it's kind of like you're kind of going to be stuck with a lot of those constraints, and hopefully they'll be able to pull out better performances and kind of set a better happy medium, especially in the 2K 1440p visualization, because I think they were shooting themselves pretty hard in the foot, guaranteeing 4K gameplay for consoles. I think that's way too high, way too much of a demand for a lot of games and game publishers, where you're just stripping a lot from those games instead of possibly doing 2K upscale 1440p, like really hitting that medium sweet spot that a majority of PC gamers are pushing themselves to be at that level or already at that level. Because again, 4K gaming feels like it's the last 15% of that 85% pool of we're already eating well. But if you truly want that 4K, you know, you can tack in that last 15%, but truly you've already experienced the majority of what you need. And of course, there's always going to be the 1080 gaming for esports and people who need that type of stability of frame rates and just visual fidelity for those high performance games. But I guess more casually, 2K's kind of where it is right now. Kind of with that, that's kind of my just general thoughts currently with PC gaming. I know it's a bit shorter than most, but just because there's just a lot of nuance with all this information, and as someone who's kind of stated before, that's like I just kind of want to highlight the top discussion points. Just kind of like want to just not as a deep dive, but just kind of give my general thoughts if I feel like where we are right now. Because this is a kind of a bit of a weird year with releases, but nothing with a huge release that I feel like everyone could back themselves on to. I think this is a release that is, I would say, half step. Kind of like when iPhones used to release their S versions before releasing the major one. I feel like this generation of GPUs, even though that we haven't seen the full slate of the 7000 series from AMD, I feel like they're just going to be kind of the half step of what the last gen was. I feel like the last gen was just such a huge increase in value proposition and just upgrade that it's hard to kind of push where it's going to come next, and that's why you have Nvidia, committing to this generation for just perfecting their ray tracing, and possibly AMD just trying to get more of a foothold on that technology. So we'll kind of see where it goes from there. I'm hoping to do another video a bit sooner, just to kind of recap the releases for next week and anything that goes on. October is going to be a big month for gaming. Obviously, I already said in the last video a bunch of games that I'm planning on playing, and so it's going to be fun. It's going to be a very interesting month for this spooky month of October. Hoping to do a lot more videos. And yeah, just kind of want to recap with that. So, thank you. Uh, I'm not gonna say the like, subscribe stuff. It's whatever. Gonna make 1,000 videos of these, and then maybe by then I'll feel comfortable enough. But right now I'm like, this is all the testing phase. This is all this is. So thank you very much, and have a great morning, night, whatever your state is.